Cologne fragrances used to be the fragrance industry's dirty little secret. The quality wasn't nice, the presentation wasn't nice, the atomizers kind of just peed, and nobody really seemed to care about them. But nowadays, they're just about running the show.
I'm taking over!
Nowadays, they aren't your dad's gas station knockoff quality. Everything has gone up in terms of the presentation, the smell, the performance, and with the price as low as it is, a lot of these are competing directly with the real deal. Hey friends, Ash here, welcome back to Gents. Hope you're well. Today I'm gonna be sharing with you 15 of the absolute most popular cologne fragrances as of right now in 2025. And this is going to be ranked from 15th up through 1st. It is not truly scientific because as of right now, I don't have sales numbers, so I'm kind of reading the tea leaves. Looking at popularity based off of reviews on sites like Parfumo, Fragrantica, also bestseller rankings on the Perfume Box, Fragrance Buy, Fragflex, JOMASHOP, stuff like that. All of these are linked in the description below, so feel free to check them out down there. Number 15 is a newer one, Marwa from Arabiyat Prestige. This one really just popped up in force over the past couple of months or so, but it has gained a ton of steam. Presentation is decent, I guess, all things considered, because one thing that you will get a lot of times with cologne fragrances is tackiness. Yeah, that's probably how I would put it. Maybe you would put it a different way. Maybe you would put it as they have much more bold presentations, attention-grabbing bottle designs. I prefer to think of it as tacky as hell, but yeah, that's just me. One thing this does have going for it though in terms of presentation, the atomizer. This thing is a beast. Get away. Just trying not to taste it is all. Pretty good. So this one right here is similar to Louis Vuitton's Imagination. People are always looking for alternatives to that fragrance because of course extremely versatile, compliment pulling, easy to wear, and really expensive. And out of everything on the market today, this is absolutely one of the top of the line, one of the best of the best. So it would not surprise me to see this one gain even more popularity as time goes on, considering that. The next one is more of a TikTok hype beast. So this is one where everybody and their mom was like, look, this is the best thing that's ever existed. Buy it now. I'm pretty sure that's how TikTok works. Essentially, the way you can view TikTok is it's like QVC except smaller portions. Pretty much that. The fragrance is Mango Ice from Gulf Orchid. This right here is a clone of God of Fire, and to be fair, it is one of the best that you can get when you consider the price point versus the quality, because it's not very expensive, especially at discounters like JOMASHOP or any of the others. You can often find it at 25 bucks or so. And God of Fire is a really weird one because you can find stuff on the lower end like this that's really good, and then you can also find clones of that fragrance upwards over $100, which is kind of crazy. I don't know about you guys, some of you will have different opinions, but for me, I feel like cologne fragrances, once they get past, 60 bucks, it starts to be real iffy. 60 is like high end. Those are like the really good cologne fragrances, the top of the top a lot of times. Once you start climbing up to like 70, 80, 90, $100, at that point, it's like, I think you're missing the plot here a little bit. All that to the side though, Mango Ice, especially for the price point, like I said, a fantastic alternative to God of Fire. And if that fragrance does have popularity that lasts and lasts and lasts, then this one will probably continue to be the most popular of that bunch. Along with Vulcan Pho probably, which is a little more expensive than this one, but also great quality. A Lattafa up next. Of course, there have to be Lattafas in here. And it is a fragrance that is not touching the tops of the Lattafa hierarchy as far as popularity, but it did hit really hard and gain like a bunch of steam, and I feel like it's kind of fallen off a little bit, but still pretty popular, obviously. It's Art of Universe. And this one is a clone or alternative to Blue Talisman. Now there are some other ones out there, some other alternatives to Blue Talisman like Maison Nasrar's Legacy, which is really well done, but this one a lot of people enjoy because of that sweetness that it has right off the top. A big fruity blast when you first spray it on, good performance as well, and it does have that kind of like blue fragrance versatility to it also, so you can use it a lot of different times, a lot of different places. As far as Lattafas go, it's a little bit more on the higher end, part of their Lattafa Pride collection, so slightly more expensive than some of the other stuff that we're going to talk about by Lattafa coming up. Still not crazy expensive, like this doesn't go into crazy territory, 60, 70, 80, it's not that expensive, it's just compared to other Lattafas. And one of my favorite things about Lattafa is that people are convinced that this point that anytime a competitor releases like a big new clone release, that Lattafa unleashes the bots. And if you know what I'm talking about, you know immediately right now what I'm talking about. There is a growing consensus that people are sure that Lattafa just straight up hates all of their competitors, you know, French Avenue, Armaf, etc. And that when they release a new fragrance, Lattafa unleashes the hounds, basically to go downvote everything that they have released that's new. And the funny thing is, it's not necessarily new. Like, I heard about that months and months and months ago, but more and more people, I think, are starting to go like, are you doing this? I think they might.
Big old Lattafa, baby. Don't you tread on my territory. I cloned this fragrance first. I copied it first. You can't copy it, man. I'm the copier here. I'm the one who rips things off, not you.
I don't think that's how they would sound. Rayhaan is next. This one is Elixir, which consistently appears to be their most popular release as of now. It could make sense though, because we're kind of heading into fall as of when I'm filming this video, so this is a really good fall fragrance. But I think that, you know, Pacific Aura is a better release. Like, I think that one just overall in terms of quality, scent profile, everything else is better. Completely different. Like, that one's Pacific Chill. This one is Lamal Elixir. Couldn't be more different. I'm just saying in terms of like, which one would I take? Well, I would take Pacific Aura. This is, though, for the price point, another knockout alternative to a very popular fragrance, Lamal Elixir. It still has ongoing support, ongoing interest, and again, a part of that is gonna be because of the price point versus quality. It kind of hits that sweet spot. Good performance, nice smell, and actually my wife prefers this one head-to-head with Hawas Elixir. Go figure. So if you're looking for a Lamal Elixir alternative, this one is pretty much the most popular one out there, along with maybe Lattafa's The Kingdom. The next one is in a red bottle. It is the only one in a red bottle, which means you probably know what it is. You locked in your guess? Okay, cool. It's this one, Nitro Red by Dumont. Nitro Red, extremely popular, an Invictus-y style fragrance, fresh and sweet, bubblegummy kind of vibes off the top, a very small smidge smattering of VR540, but not too much. It's really more so on that Invictus style. And this one continues to be very popular. It kind of had a slow rise. Like when it first launched, it was, you know, kind of decently popular, but not huge. And then more people found out, kind of like word of mouth, and it got more and more and more popular. It also has a flanker, Nitro Red Intensely, and this one was actually so successful that other clone houses cloned Nitro Red. Yeah, Fragrance World came out with Noble Red, which legitimately looks almost exactly like this. So that lets you know how well it did. The next one is an Elixir fragrance, an Elixir flanker. Yes. So there was the original clone fragrance, which was cloning something else, and then there was the Elixir flanker of the clone. It's Odyssey Mandarin Sky Elixir. This one, of course, by Armaf, and it has that kind of Jean-Paul Gaultier scandal vibe to it, just like the original Mandarin Sky did. But then this one introduces a little bit of a hybridization. Yeah, a little Frankensteinian in nature.
What would happen if we took this and made it have a baby with this?
They did a little something like that. Hopefully everything was on the up and up, but it has a little bit of an Invictus Victory Elixir vibe to it. So it's gonna have more of that like sparkly vanilla kind of essence melded together with Jean-Paul Gaultier's scandal. And coming up, you know, fall, winter, this stuff is gonna be absolutely fantastic, which is probably one of the reasons it has increased in popularity here recently. And the original Odyssey Mandarin Sky is also really popular in its own right. So we are almost halfway through, and before we get to the top half of the absolute best, most popular fragrances, I would like to share some codes with you. And here they are, codes from Fragrance Lord, which will get you 10% off. Also, the codes for Gift Express and Perfume Box you can now use as many times as you want. It is not limited to a single use. So when you shop at any of those discounters, use those codes to save yourself some money. Also, the JOMASHOP codes, you can use those, but they only work within the JOMASHOP app. And of course, there are the usual codes, Max Aroma, Twisted Lily, and many others. So anytime you shop at those stores, use those codes, save yourself some money. So the last fragrance we talked about is an elixir. And the next one is not an elixir, but it is a clone of an elixir. There's a lot of elixirs nowadays, in case you didn't know. And the fragrance it's a clone of is YSL Y Elixir, and I feel like this is probably your best bet of any clone right now if you're trying to get as close to a one-to-one with Y Elixir that you can. It is Zimaya's A Body Opulent. With this being a Zimaya, of course, very affordable, so at discounters you're not gonna pay too much for this one, and it smells very, very close, very similar to Y Elixir. There's also Fakar Platine, which is not quite hit as hard as this one, at least in comparison to this being a Zimaya and that one being a Lattafa, like kind of unbalanced there as far as which one has more push, right? But Fakar Platine is kind of like Y Elixir, but with a tropical kind of twist to it in a way. This one, like I said, closer to being a 1-to-1. So a lot of people have been going for this one, especially considering the price, the versatility, and once again, the quality, really, really good. Now the next one was a big surprise. I did not actually expect it to be this high up. I actually didn't expect it to be in the top 15 at all, but the more that I looked this stuff up, the more it was right there, right towards the top. And it's not even technically a cologne fragrance, but it is by Lattafa, so I was like, well, I'll go ahead and put it in there. I'll go ahead and put it in there. It is Body Al Oud Honor and Glory. Yes, this stuff just keeps on selling. The popularity keeps on maintaining. It's a gourmand, sweet sort of fragrance, like pineapple and creme brulee. But then as it dries down, you have sandalwood, you have vanilla in there, you have a little touch of spiciness as well. And the price point is low. At JOMASHOP, this stuff is like 22 bucks or something. So all of that combines to make a fragrance that people keep reaching for, keep purchasing, and keep talking about. Now we have to have a Hawas in here, right? You got to. One of the biggest lines ever as far as cologne fragrances are concerned. But not just any Hawas. I had to go with the one that's getting talked about the most, the one that seems to be the most popular right now as of when I'm filming this video, which to be fair, could change on a weekly basis. And I should also say that when it comes to a particular line, I was only taking one per line. So one Hawas, for example, one Club de Nuit, for example. Otherwise, the top 15 would be like, oh, this version of Hawas, that version of Hawas, this version of Hawas, that version of CDNIM, that version of CDNIM. You get what I'm saying? Want a little more variety, huh? So with the Hawas choice, it is this one. Ice. Lots of hype behind this, still lots of chatter about this fragrance, and it makes sense why. It's kind of in that same lane as the original Hawas, only this one is fresher, a little bit more attention grabbing for a lot of people. So it's giving you something familiar, but the twist that it does, a lot of people really, really enjoy. So this one just kind of shot right up the popularity charts, it shot up the best-selling charts, and it maintains that popularity till today. Up next in Afnan fragrance, probably the biggest one, I would say, from the brand, 9 PM. This is Ultramall, of course. And this one's just kind of evergreen at this point, you know, it's got social proof. People have bought it for years. They've talked about it for years, so everybody kind of knows what the deal is. It's also very affordable. The performance is there. The compliment factor is there. Pretty much anything people look for in cologne fragrances, this one does. And it kicked off the 9 PM line, which continues to grow today. And for some people, it's kind of like Rasasi. First thing you think of, Hawas. Afnan, same thing. First thing you think of, 9 PM. So these two right next to each other makes sense. We're in the top 5. And at number 5 is Asad by Lattafa, which is, of course, the cheap Sauvage Elixir choice. Now, it may not be the absolute best, the pinnacle Sauvage Elixir alternative for everybody. There are other good ones out there, but when you consider how cheap this is with the performance it has and, you know, the similarity to Sauvage Elixir, a lot of people are gonna just immediately think, Asad, that's all I need, that's what I'm gonna get. This one continues to be talked about a lot, continues to sell really well, and probably will for years to come. Number 4 is another Afnan. It's Supremacy, Not Only Intense. This is kind of an Aventus Hasavat style workhorse fragrance that you can wear year round with great performance, big compliment puller, extremely versatile. And I know a lot of people are sick of anything Aventus. You know, if you mention that, they'll start dry heaving. But for the price point, this stuff is great. And again, it ticks every box that most people are looking for. Versatility, compliment factor, performance, and cost. And number 3 is Club de Nuit Intense Man, Extrait de Parfum. So, yeah, Aventus again. Now they do have a new one, the Extreme Edition, which that one, when it first launched, 150 bucks. Now it's at discounters for like 60, so that's good. And it's possible that that one really kicks up in terms of popularity in the near future as more people are able to get their hands on it at that discounted rate, because at 150 it's just way too expensive. But until then, the Extrait has actually been one of the most popular, best-selling Club de Nuit Intense Man variations. Reason for that is probably because it's newer, so a lot of people who are really into CDNIM have already purchased the other versions and now they're getting this one. At least that's my best guess. It is, though, a very well done Aventus clone. Of course, course, good performance like you would expect from an X-Straight, and very smooth, especially compared to the original Club de Nuit. Number 2 is Liquid Brun by French Avenue. This stuff is massively popular, pretty much has been ever since it launched. It was the first big Altair alternative on the market, and a lot of people still go for this one. Kind of like with Asad over here, you know, Asad kind of like stuck its claim to Sauvage Elixir, right? Same thing here. So with Liquid Brun, you'll have some people go, ah, not that one, I like that one more, or I like this one more, I like that one more. But at the end of the day, the biggest one is this one. Continues to sell very, very well. Actually, as of this video, right this moment, which it will change probably in 30 minutes, I don't know. If you sort by bestsellers on JOMASHOP, all men's fragrances, number 1 is Born in Roma Intense, number 2 is Liquid Brun. And that brings me to the most popular release of them all. Not really a surprise, probably. It is Khamrah. To be fair though, it could be Khamrah / Khamrah Dukhan / Khamrah Kawa, because it's just Khamrah, you know? It is still a hype monster. With Khamrah, it is enormously popular. It's pretty much everywhere for sale, always towards the top as far as bestsellers go. And going back to kind of what I said over here, same thing with Khamrah. There are other fragrances out there by other brands in a very similar style to this, even kind of a similar presentation to this, that people will say are better, perform better, higher quality, the whole 9 yards. But Khamrah kind of came out first. And because of that, it maintains that popularity. And it is still, as of now, especially with the 2 other versions out, pretty much the top dog when you start looking across popularity, bestsellers across a bunch of sites, just the whole thing. So there we go, guys. As of right now, that's kind of a rundown of where everything stands as far as popularity goes. But as time goes on, new things come out and they start to work their way up the list, and some things slowly fall out of favor as well. And then you'll even have some fragrances that get less popular and then kind of get popular again and just kind of ride a roller coaster. I want to thank you guys for hanging with me. Stay safe out there. Take care of yourselves. I'll see you tomorrow with another fragrance video. See you guys.